Welcome to WSOT TV City Talk. We're so glad that you are joining us today. You're catching the July 2017 episode, and we have a great bunch of information to share with you today. Now, I want to remind you that this is your show, and so throughout the show, everything that we talk about is going to be pertaining to the city of Marion, and we invite you to call in to the show. We have a message line. It's a local number, and it's area code 765-536-WSOT. You can also text that number as well. We also have a show website, ctmarion.com, and you can go online and you can submit your questions and comments there. We also have archived episodes of past shows, so if you see something that you want to go back and review, you can do that real easy, 24 hours a day. You can go to ctmarion.com. Well, I'm your host, Angela Stepp, and beside me, I have Miss Belinda Hustler, and she is the Executive Director of the Parks and Recreation Department for the City of Marion. I want to welcome you to the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here.
A joy to have you. You know, we had a chance to come out and visit with you last year in the gardens at Matter Park, and that was a delight. And there was some construction going on at that time, but we will talk about that here in a little bit because that construction's been completed.
It has been,
and there's some exciting news, top 10 news that we're going to be sharing in the very near future. But we'll save that here for a little bit.
Okay.
All right. Well, you know, I have some neat things. I was just inviting our viewers to call in to the show because we want to hear from them, and that's the reason that we do the show. And you know, I got to share with you, I had some voicemails that came in.
Okay.
And this is really interesting. You know, I am so thankful for all of you for watching the show and then making sure to call in and let us know your thoughts. And here's some calls that came in that I thought were rather neat. So last month, we switched sides. I was sitting where you're sitting, and I didn't think anybody would even notice. But we had several phone calls.
They noticed.
And I'm going to read one here to you, and I'm sorry I don't have your name, but I want to thank you for calling in. It said, please put the mayor back on the left side, you on the right. Neither of you look the same at all, and it's distracting to have you seated in this new way. It's difficult to pay attention to what you're saying. Thanks so much. Well, we heard you, and I'm back in my normal spot. And Belinda is in the spot of the mayors for this week as our special guest, and I hope that this makes the show a little bit easier for you to watch. So I understand we're creatures of habit.
We are creatures of habit.
We like to see what we see, and
they're used to you on that side.
They're used to me on that side, so I'll stay here for you. You know, another one that we had on that called in, it says, we miss having the other people on besides the mayor, but he's good too. Please make sure to put other people on there. Thank you.
Okay.
So here's your answer. She's my other people for the week,
other one
right?
Today.
Yes. So Belinda, you're very much wanted and welcomed by our viewers. Yes.
Thank you.
You know, let me jump into something that's coming up here. This is for the month of July, and there's a big event coming on in the community called the Family Fourth event.
Yes.
Share with me a little bit about that.
We are presenting again the 4th of July fireworks on July 4th. That's Tuesday, next Tuesday. And a little different this year. We're not combining it with First Friday because it's a little bit of a distance from the First Friday date. So we decided to partner with the radio station, and they're going to do a live remote for us, have some family fun games down there, some vendors, some food, and kind of kick off the 4th of July season. And then you know, we'll do the fireworks show as we've done it before in the past. So then to help folks have a general idea of exactly when and where, so we are looking at July the 4th. Yes.
And I understand that it's from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. That's when the big family fun is happening, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then the fireworks happen when?
The fireworks happen when it turns dark,
So
which is
dusk.
normally 10 o'clock. The radio stations will be playing some patriotic music from around 9 to 10 when we start. They'll amp it up when we're getting ready to do the ground show at across the river at the Y, and then that'll be followed by the aerial show. But after 5 minutes, the big boomers will start from the Ballard Field area.
Always a fun thing to look forward to.
Fun and a good show
Yes,
as well. Yes,
yes.
we're happy with that.
So I want to give some folks some exact specific location here. So let me give you really quick, I have some notes I made so I could get it right for you. The location, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Okay.
the location is going to be between Adams and Washington Street in the common area, south of First Street and the Mississinawa River, if that kind of gives you a more specific area.
Yes. Yes, that sounds right. You do the north, south, east, and west, and I need right and left. So,
But I think everybody knows where the
Yes,
common area
yes.
is, so that's a good thing.
Yes.
So, and you've got the games, the activities, and this is all free, correct?
everything is free unless you purchase food. And from the vendors, you would, pay for the food.
And so family friendly, all ages are invited, and it's free. And I also know that fireworks show every year is something that everybody looks forward to. It's one of the better displays in the area, and it's huge, and a lot of work and effort goes into that.
We are very proud of that fireworks show. I think the grand finale gets better every year. I don't know, I just, I look at it and it's like, ooh, ah, and, all that. And then when we're done, it's like, wow, we did well this year again. So I don't think they'll disappoint us this year. Always weather is a factor.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. What happens? Is there a rain date?
They don't like to do rain dates,
Yeah.
but if they can delay it for a little bit, if the rain, looks like it might pass, we've done that in the past. Otherwise, we will do it the next day, which kind of loses the effect of it.
But it's good to know, just
It
in
is,
case.
yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
think that I've been checking the forecast,
Have
and
you?
so far everything looks good. So
Good, because
think
I
we
don't
got a
like to
green
look
light.
ahead. I don't
Yeah.
like to look ahead.
I know, it makes you a little nervous,
It
doesn't
does.
it?
It
I
does.
know.
It does.
Well, I hope that you've enjoyed what we've been talking about, and want to remind you that this is your show, and we want to hear from you. So please give us a call or text in on the message line 536-WSOT, or you can go to the ctmarion.com website and submit your questions and comments there online. And you know what? If you have pictures that you took of years past fireworks display, submit those to us. You can text those into the show, or you can actually submit them on the website as well. But we would love to see some of your happy memories from years past. There's another thing that we need to talk about. Now, we're going to pause for a break here in a second, but there's a top 10 designation that we are going to talk about here, and it has to do with something that's kind of at the heart of our city.
Absolutely.
And it's something that's very near and dear to your heart as well.
Oh, very near and dear to my heart. Yes, we're so proud.
So we're going to talk about, I shouldn't talk
No.
about Matter Park. I'm not going to give it away. It has to do with a park somewhere in the city of Marion, but you'll have to stay tuned until after this break, and we'll tell you more. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more WSOT TV City Talk in just a second. Welcome back to WSOT TV City Talk. We're so glad that you're joining us. I have Belinda Hustler. She is the Executive Director of the Parks and Recreation Department for the City of Marion, and we are talking about things related to the Parks Department here on the show. But we also have some other exciting things that we'll be talking about later on. It has to do with some high-speed auto racing, but we'll talk about that later on in the show. Before we went to break, we had a little bit of a mention about something exciting. We have some great news, Belinda, that is linked to our Matter Park here in Marion, and it happened to reach a top 10 list.
Yes.
Would you share with us what that is?
We have made the top 10 list of parks, Matter Park, in the state of Indiana. And for all that we have in Matter Park, we are so excited that we've been recognized for all that we do, and we have this to offer everyone.
So we are one of the top 10 best parks throughout the whole entire state of Indiana.
Yes, the state of Indiana.
Huge. That is huge. all of that hard work. I mentioned just a little bit ago, last year when we got to visit with you in the park and there was some construction going on, I think in the meadow area at the time, and that was such a fun opportunity to get to visit with you out there on location. But, I would like to visit with you a little bit about some of those award-winning gardens, because as I think about reasons as to why Matter Park may have made that top 10 list of best parks within the state of Indiana, you have a lot of award-winning garden areas.
Absolutely.
And you've got some really incredible events and activities, great park facilities beyond the gardens. You've got some really great activities and opportunities for sports and fun and family friendly. It's all free.
Right. It's all free.
No
Right.
charge to
Opportunities,
admission-wise.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the gardens, because that is something that I know is beautiful. It's a fairly new addition to the park. And you've got the gardens at Matter Park. You have the meadows. You've got the designation of proven winners.
Proven winners.
It's one of 6 in the nation.
Yes.
Share with me a little bit about that.
Well, that's something that happened several years ago. Doug Darga, our director of the gardens, worked on that. Everything that had to, go behind the scenes with that, and was able to get that distinction. We were awarded that signature garden for our community for the gardens of Matter Park, and it was just, wow, we were just blown away when we received the news about that.
Yeah, I remember when I first heard that proven winners had selected Marion as one of 6 signature gardens in the nation.
In the nation.
In the
Yes.
nation.
Yes.
Not in the state.
Not in the state,
in the
but in the
nation.
nation.
I hope folks realize the importance of that designation and what a big deal that is. There's not a lot of communities, only 5 other ones in the whole country.
Right. And if you look at those gardens, they're beautiful gardens, just like our gardens are beautiful.
Yes, I think Biltmore might be one of them.
Biltmore is one of
Just
them.
saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's another one, your butterfly garden. That is recently awarded as well.
That has been awarded, and a very dedicated group of volunteers take care of that area for us at one of the garden clubs, and they are nonstop in that area to bring this area to the citizens and residents of Marion and others that visit, but education too. It's not just only a nice place to visit. You're educated as well with the butterflies.
So true. I'm glad that you bring that. I understand that the butterfly garden fosters monarch butterflies
It does.
specifically.
Yes.
And speaking of education as well, you have a children's vegetable garden, don't you?
We have a children's vegetable garden.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's a nice area that, it kind of helps children understand the whole process of planting and then harvesting and what you can do with that. Much like some of the community gardens that we have around Marion as well, but this is an individual area, also part of our original plan when we, Doug and the mayor at the time developed the whole concept of the gardens. We wanted to do different phases and have different opportunities for everyone to enjoy, all age groups.
I'm glad that you also bring up children in all age groups, because there's one specific character that really stands out over and kind of near that garden, and it's a cat.
It's the cat, the well-known cat.
The very well-known cat, Garfield.
Garfield, yes, Garfield.
We have a huge Garfield statue. I love it.
We do. Now, if Garfield looks familiar, it's because Garfield's been relocated. Garfield used to be by the river at the end of the walkway, and just wasn't the best place for him. And so when Doug was building the expansion or the meadow area of the garden, we decided to maybe tuck him in there somewhere, highly visible, on the Garfield Trail for Grant County.
Yeah, it completes that Garfield Trail.
Completes that, and Doug did a fabulous job with designing the whole area around there. Very user-friendly and good picture-taking opportunity, and we're able to continue with the Garfield in Grant County.
Now, I think when you and I got to visit last year, we were in the Meadow Garden.
Yes.
And there was a pavilion being
Yes.
constructed at the time.
Yes.
And that will take me then to some of the facilities that the park offers beyond the gardens. You know, you have the garden house, which actually I have a viewer question that I need to ask you about.
Okay.
So, okay, it's a little lengthy, so I'm just going to do my best to paraphrase your question. The question came in via text, and they would like to know, and for those of you watching, when I say via text, you can call or text our local phone number. It's a message line, 536-WSOT. Call or text anytime, or go to the show website, ctmarion.com, and you can submit your questions and comments there as well. So they would like to know, apparently they inquired about renting the garden house, and they were under the impression that they had to pay additionally to gain access to the restrooms, which, as I understand, are also within the garden house.
Correct.
And it made me a little puzzled, because I'm thinking when you rent the garden house, you get the whole thing. Perhaps they're mixing it up with the pavilion in the meadow?
I think that's the problem. The gardens is the main part, the first part of it. The expansion is the meadow, and some people just consider that all the gardens. And we're trying to, kind of making it so that, if you want to rent the gardens or you want to rent the meadow, we'll know what you're talking about, and you can better reference that. But in the meadow is a pavilion, and the pavilion has an outdoor kitchen, and also off to the side is a restroom facility, which also serves as a changing area for a bride if she were to get married in that area. And that is closed to the public and only open for an event. In other words, if you rent the pavilion, then you could have that garden, that restroom in the gardens open.
So it's a private restroom specifically linked to the pavilion, which, by the way, that pavilion is beautiful, and the seating area, and it has chandeliers.
Yes,
it's just
it's gorgeous.
Stunning. If you haven't had a chance to be out to make a visit out there and check it out, I just want to let you know, when you do, you will be blown away at how lovely everything is. Every last little bit of detail has been looked at and attention paid to, and it really impressed me, the thought that went into planning and constructing that area. And I think it would also be important to mention that so people can rent that pavilion and the kitchen and the restroom, but they can also rent the garden house too.
Correct. They can rent the garden house. They can rent the whole facility. They can rent the grounds, everything, as one package. It's interesting because when we first built everything, it was kind of trial and error on making sure everything flows smoothly. How are we going to, have this area for someone, and what are we going to do about the kitchen? What if people use the kitchen when, it's not rented? And we've just been working out all the details. But anyone can use any part of the gardens as long as it's not reserved for a private event, and enjoy the meadow, enjoy that pavilion. But if you want access to the restroom, then that's where you would rent.
And you have public restrooms.
We have public restrooms in the park. Yes, we do.
And that's as long as the park is open and you can access that anytime.
Yes.
Now, real quickly, if somebody is interested in finding out more information about renting, who would they contact?
City Hall, and they'll transfer them to the park department.
Okay, so you can call 662-9931, and you will probably speak with Nikki when you call.
You will.
And she will then forward you on to Belinda or whomever is available to answer your question. So 662-9931 is the City Hall number. Now, I have to talk about some of the other facilities that are at the park. You've got the Children's Friendship Corner. That's a handicap-friendly playground area, correct?
Yes. That, believe it or not, that is in its 11th season. It opened the same year as the Splash House did.
We should talk about the Splash House later,
we
too.
will,
Yes. You have a new director
there. We have a new director. Thank
Uh-huh.
goodness we have a new director, and he's
Yeah.
running the whole place for us now.
Uh-huh.
The Friendship Corner was the result of a group of adults, parents with handicapped students that needed a place, for their kids to play with their friends of similar abilities or, no special needs. So this whole concept started with them. And through the years, we were able to get the funding for that through a bond and opened it 11 years ago. And it is a fabulous place.
It's always busy.
Always busy. We thought we could kind of close it down in the winter time, but no, if it's a nice day, they want to be out there. So we're open pretty much year-round there. So we love it.
And speaking of wintertime, disc golf.
Disc golf, those
That's
players
big.
play in the snow, they play in the rain. The only time that they don't play like they'd like to is when we put the walkway of lights up, and there's a little bit of obstacle there for them. But that is a fabulous amenity that we offer in the park, because that started out with a group of users who wanted to have disc golf, and they came to me and we were able to develop it. They got sponsorship money for it. It's something that was really not paid for with the park budget, but from sponsorships and some grants from the Community Foundation. And now we have this fabulous course, which we are now putting in 6 more holes and hope to debut it early August.
So you'll have 24 holes
24
total.
holes
Currently
total.
18. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
wonderful. Tell me a little bit about the newly remodeled tennis courts. And I have to ask, what is pickleball?
Pickleball is kind of a baby boomer abbreviated tennis, where you don't use the whole court and use a paddle ball and a wiffle ball. Now, you didn't know what that was. Very popular, gaining a lot of popularity. Tennis is still popular. If you go into the park, you'll see that we did resurface and paint the front 5 courts, but the back 3 are not. And what we're going to do is, until we can get the funding to do those courts, we will hopefully this summer yet line those courts for pickleball, so that individuals can enjoy pickleball in Matter Park.
Yeah, you know, and I need to jump into, because we're running out of time, but I want to make sure that we talk about some of the events and activities that are happening. You know, you've got things like the Plantapalooza plant sale in the springtime.
Right.
You've got the Daddy-Daughter Dance. You've got the Monarch Festival. You're talking about the Butterfly Gardens and the ice cream social that happens. I think about the fall magic in the gardens with the movie and the bonfire.
Right. Popcorn,
And
yes.
popcorn's so much fun. And then there's the concerts in the park. Share with us a little bit about that, because that's something that's a monthly event. It happens in the park, and there's a lot of neat things that are associated with that. Share with us a little bit about
Well,
that.
the Concert in the Park series for us will start next month in July, this month in July, and run through the first part of September. We've got a concert every Thursday from 7 to 9 on the stage, which has been renovated this year. We'll have a tent over it as well. Free event. There'll be food for purchase on the grounds as well, and this is totally funded by sponsorships, people who believe in our concert series and want to see it grow.
Always a good time in the park.
Beautiful setting.
Yes. Well, you know what? We need to pause for a really quick break.
Okay.
And I want to remind you that if you would like to leave a comment or ask a question, you can call or text the message line 536-WSOT, or go to the show website, ctmarion.com. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some high-speed auto racing that's coming right here to our town here in Marion. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more WSOT City Talk in just a moment.
In many ways, my job at Boeing feels like a continuation of my role in the Air Force Reserve, refueling aircraft at 20,000 feet. They say the dream job is something you do for free. I have that dream job.
Start your adventure with the Air Force Reserve.
Welcome back to WSOT TV City Talk. You know, I am with the Executive Director of the Parks and Recreation Department for the City of Marion, Belinda Hustler, and we have been talking about all kinds of exciting things about the Parks Department, starting with Matter Park being one of the top 10 states, or top 10 parks in the state of Indiana, which is huge.
Huge.
And another thing that's huge is the Splash House that we have right here in Marion, Indiana, a big water park. And you have a new director.
We have a new director. He started about a month ago, right when we were getting ready to open.
His name's Andy Davis.
Andy Davis. He's actually a local fella. He was born and raised in Fairmount.
Yes.
Went off to college and a few other things associated with WISE and Boys and Girls Club. So we were able to get him for our director, and we're real happy with some of the ideas that he's put forth already and the way he wants to run the facility, and seems to gel with the public well, and kind of making an impact already with us.
That's great. You know, I got a chance to get a little bit of a background on him, and, you know, knowing that he has had an extensive leadership background with youth and sports, recreation, and aquatics, what a great asset to have on board for the Splash House.
And the park system, too.
And the park system,
Yes,
too,
absolutely,
for sure.
yes.
You know, I would like to ask you a little bit about the Splash House. You always have some neat things happening there, events and whatnot. And can you share with us a little bit about what people will find at the Splash House for those who maybe have never heard of the Splash House, and the fact that it's a huge water park right here in Marion, Indiana, that people can travel to from all over? Share with us what they'll find there, and do you have any upcoming events?
Well, the biggest attraction probably, and that's for the teenagers, is the wave pool, largest waves in our area.
So you can surf on that.
You can surf on that. We actually have surfing classes, open surfing in the evening after we close every evening, which is, people are surfing in Indiana. Yes, they are. They're surfing in Marion, Indiana. Lazy River, which is really popular for sitting on your tube and floating around, but also before and after we open, we offer Lazy River walking as a form of exercise, which is very popular, very popular.
Not know that.
Yes. We have a kiddie structure, a kiddie area as well, and then some slides that, you know, the older kids love to go down and, you know, twisty turny and then into the water. So we have that. And then we are home to several events. We just had the Carry Services Ducky Race.
Yes, the Yellow Duck Race.
The Yellow Duck Race, fun event for the whole family. And now we'll be hosting the Casa sand sculpture contest.
Oh, really?
We have a sand area off to the north of the parking lot right there that's total sand. It'll be transformed into areas of artistic sand sculpture building.
Work too, I'm
You've
sure.
never seen sand sculptures like you've seen there. So
Tell me a little bit about where people can go to find out more information about when that event is going to happen and the park.
probably the best place is to go to our website, marionindiana.us.
And just look for the Splash House.
Look for the Splash House.
You'll
It'll
have your
link you up to the
events.
Splash House. That's the main place to go to.
Okay, and you know what we'll do? We'll put a link on the show website, ctmarion.com. So if it's easier for you to remember that, just go straight to the ctmarion.com website, and you can
Thank
just
you.
click there, and we'll make it easy for them, right?
Thank you. Easy is good.
Well, we only have a couple moments left, and I got to talk about something that's really exciting, and it's coming to the Marion Airport in August.
Yes.
It's the Airstrip Attack.
the second annual airstrip.
The second
attack.
annual.
Yes.
Now, for folks who don't know, this is a high-speed auto racing event, and I want to make sure I get this right. Let me give you the dates. It's August the 19th and the 20th, and that's going to be out at the Marion Airport, and like she said, it's the second annual, and I think there were like 2,500 people that attended last year, and they're expecting attendance to double.
Yes.
And this is the only thing like it. This event is the only thing like it here in the Midwest. It started out in 2011 in California with Shift Sector Racing, and it partnered with Central Indiana Ethanol, Jay Berry, who owns the Ignite Racing Fuel company. But the Airstrip Attack, it's a half-mile, side-by-side roll race event, and there's also a speed trap competition. Now, the machines, and I'm going to call them machines, not cars.
Okay.
These are so high-tech that you only think of seeing them in a magazine. But if you come out to the Marion Airport on August the 19th and 20th, well, then you have a chance to get to see them and interact with the drivers firsthand. But it's going to be really exciting, and I want people to know about it. I want them to have an opportunity to go if they should be interested in that. And, you know, it's something that Marion, I know, is proud to host at the Marion Airport. It's a big deal. Like you were telling me earlier, they have to shut the airport down.
That's quite an undertaking to do that.
Can you
That's
imagine?
not just a small thing to organize. That is a lot of work. Yes.
We're a very, very busy airport. So speaking of very busy, you know what? We've been talking through the show, but we're out of time, right?
Yes, we're out of time.
It always passes so quick.
It does.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule
I am so happy to be here in Talk Park. I love the
Come and
parks.
join us. And we would love for you to come back maybe around holidays, and we'll talk about that
Walkway of
lights, right?
Right.
All right. Well, we want to encourage you to visit the show website, ctmarion.com, and submit your questions and comments on the show for the show there. And if you have some great pictures that you took at any of the local events, we would love for you to submit those as well. They may make it on air. Well, we're all out of time. Thanks so much for watching WSOT TV City Talk, and we invite you to stay tuned for some more quality family programming that you can trust right here on WSOT TV.